Hey, what up, guys? Do you guys think it's hard to survive without, if you're born and raised with your family and that, who are quite abusive? Well, I'll give props to the female idiot who gave birth to me. I know for a fact that she became that later on, the abusive, but beforehand she was just the enabler who let it all happen. But there was times when she would comfort me and stuff when I was by myself, but by the time I became a teenager, it was every time you stood up, she would stand up against me. So obviously there's a time period there, so obviously there's a lot of stuff we didn't know that was going on that we have an idea of what happened during those years to her now as adults. And by the time I was an adult, she was a couple of times she started hitting me and stuff, so I just pushed her away because I knew where it was all coming from. Well, anyway, it's easy to survive without them. Look at this. This is average weekly groceries for me. Now, I got my rewarding breakfast or lunch, but I hadn't eaten any breakfast today, so got my potatoes, got all my chicken and stuff. There's all groceries. It's got all muesli and fruit and stuff. And yeah, got this for now because I was searching up prices for cloves and didn't eat my breakfast, so I got that for now, as well as avocado with some muffin splits. Gonna put a sausage in there with it. So yeah, no problem surviving. I got let go of my last job. I was really angry and I was gonna make a recording, but I thought, I don't want to sabotage my next employment or whatever. So I just wrote down the 15 things that annoyed me, and they could be summed up in like 3 or 4, but I went for 3 pages just documenting in my own little book. Yeah, the employer asked me if there's something wrong with me. One of the guys who started giving me a hard time because he wanted me to do all these things, but he's of a certain culture where the elders are, and their version of respect is you don't question them. Like you do it without questioning, even if whatever. But because growing up, people from that culture, I knew that they were like that towards people of other cultures and ethnicities as well. But things have changed in the past decade or so because of the, their culture being really suppressed around here. And it's got a lot of good things, but one of the bad things is like when an older person tells you to do something, they expect you to do it. But this guy was quite self-centered because he didn't have any more experience in the job than I did, and there was these other ones who were of the same culture who were also around his age, older, and they were telling me what to do, but they had years experience in the job. So of course I was listening to them and doing what they wanted. But yeah, saw him coming back a couple of times. After a couple of times I turned him down, and he was crying. He was sulking on his way back from the manager's office. And I talked to the manager a couple of times about what was going on. He asked me, how's your parents doing, because you're in a new region, what do they reckon about new region and you starting this new job? I told him, my parents are real toxic. I don't want to have anything to do with them, and I don't want to talk about them. So, I understand where you're coming from, because most people wouldn't be acting like this towards their parents. If they went to a new region and had a new job, they'd call up and talk. But I don't want to do that with my parents. And then he brought it up a couple more times and says, oh, you just miss them. It's okay to feel awkward, but it takes a bigger man to go and tell them how much you miss them and be vulnerable. And I said, no, my parents are very toxic to the point where their children want nothing to do with them, and that's not normal. That's not normal for your children to not have want anything to do with you. But if, because some people don't want anything to do with you because you're a hassle, you're toxic. But when your kids want nothing to do with you, because my two younger sisters, they moved to Auckland. One of my younger sisters both of them were smart enough to move out at 18, 19 and not look back. Well, actually, the other one is still around that age, and I moved out, but then I went back twice. So, yes. Anyway, I'm 33 now. Had them off my, changed the SIM card, moved to a new region. They haven't called me in over a year. I haven't visited them in over a year. Anyway, this guy says, man, that's sad, man. That's sad. And the other people, and he kept trying to tell me, and then his demeanor changed. He started, you do this, do that now. I'll be like, no, because I've been given this job to do, and I just finished it, and then I finished another job, and now I'm on a job that no one else told me to do, but it has to be done. And they give you this device, and when they give you a device, that means you can search up where all the products are. And so I knew what I was doing in that job, in that order. And so he'll come along in that order. No, you put it there. No, you shut up. You shut up. No, you know nothing. You know nothing. This is the same guy that was telling me, and he also, he's the same guy who told me, the reason why you're angry is because you're possessed with demons. And he was talking to me like that before he started changing his demeanor. And it wasn't changing his demeanor on the same day, it was changing demeanor weeks down the path. And, because I'm not afraid and I'm not scared, but I've called them out many times, these certain cultures in the past, like those who follow, despite there being obvious abuse towards people like this. I'd call them out, in person and at management and all this, but now it's like on YouTube and that, but as well. But yeah, because this culture has been suppressed in many ways, they view it okay to, these particular people, not all of them, but these particular people view it as okay to do it to others, and you're a racist if you speak up against it. Because I was out of all the newbies that brought in, I was the only white guy, so leave it at that. But the younger one sided with this older fella. I told management what was going on. They kept telling me, you keep doing what you're doing, don't worry, we're gonna make you permanent. They told me that on 2 or 3 occasions, and the last time they told me that was a week before they laid me off, and told me that I was is there something wrong with me and you can't handle the pressure of this job. But because that stuff was happening, sometimes I just walk around the corner and have a moment to myself and just come back. And sometimes that moment included swearing at myself, because I did swear at those guys who do it to me, but it wasn't like explosive, but I did swear on a few occasions, in a casual way, not like real aggressive, just like, hey, like, please don't talk to me like that. Then I'll have a go at me and I'll be like, mate, you just shut the fuck up, because I got a job I need to do, so I'm going to go and do it, okay? See you. And then just like that. And things like that. So, yeah, management knew all about this, but they claimed that there was no rumours being spread about me. But I was left out of this group meeting. There's a couple of group meetings that happened about in the last month before I got let go. I was only there for 6 weeks, but and no one told me about it. And management had told a couple of people and relied upon them to tell everyone else, and I was the only one that wasn't told, and I've been there many times in my life before. And so they told me there's something wrong with me. Management, they said, you walk off, and sometimes he's swearing, is what's wrong with you? And I just tell him all this stuff. And it didn't help that the guy was telling me it's sad that I'm not going home to my parents, do this, do that, even though he had the same level of experience as me, and I'd just been helping people who had more experience and done like 2 tasks, and now I'm on a 3rd task, one that, because they give you a device, and if there's tasks to do and they don't want a hand with anything, you go do these. And then I'll go do that. That'll be my 3rd task. But he's giving me all these orders and whinging at people because I didn't do what he wanted. And then started calling me possessed with demons and all this type of stuff. He's the same. He's of the same age group and he has a similar appearance to the male idiot who raised me. You could tell they're not the same person, but you could tell they're in the same age group, same mentality. And the male idiot who raised me was a builder, and then placemakers, they don't do building, but they sell building products. So you just put these things together. And then there's the 3rd one was, they look alike, and he's running around with this attitude, and I got fired because I'm the one who's not normal. I could say what culture it is, but let's put it this way. There's all these European cultures, and they're very similar, but they're different, no interconnected. But then there's all these other like Polynesian cultures. So it's a Polynesian culture, but it's not my Polynesian culture, which is Māori. But the Māoris came from the Pacific Islands, so I'm connected to the Tongans because the Tongans, our ancestors came from Tonga to New Zealand. So, Rarotonga, Tonga, because they travelled. Actually, and before we were in Rarotonga and Tonga, we were in the Cook Islands, which is part of that is Rarotonga. Tonga was Cook Islands. Then Asia. We were in Asia. We came from Taiwan, and Indonesians look like Māoris too, the native ones. So a native is the Chinese conquered that country 200 years ago. So the people who were there at the time, the people who were there at that specific time look like Māoris, very similar. Anyway, it's one of those cultures, and that's what happened. And I got no problem because those other guys were of the same culture, but they had experience in the job, so they tell me what to do. I listen. I do what they tell me to do. And I asked management, and management said, "Oh yeah, keep doing what you're doing. We're not gonna keep you permanent." And then this happened. So I got no problem listening to orders from anyone from any culture and stuff, but it comes down to whether or not you have more experience than me. If you're starting on the same day as I am, like, you want to bark orders at me because you're older than me, and no one should disrespect your culture, then just fucking forget about it, and I told them that too, but so that's what's happened. And I'm staying in that nice place in Maungaraki, and I'm so grateful towards my landlord, because it took me 2 days to tell him about this, and I was like, far out. And but it's $260 to stay there, and for me to have a decent amount of food, not to go get all these takeaways and stuff, but a decent amount of food to cover me to the end of the week, as well as a decent amount of petrol to get around, costs $120, so that's up to $380, but I might just put $30 on the petrol because I won't be going to work every day, but I'll be going to taekwondo trainings and that. So that all adds up to $310, and we got $10 a week I save on my Packer Save Christmas Club card, $380. And Wins has said they're going to give me $418. So that's a bless. That's the most I've ever got from Wins, but they're going to give me Wins as a working income thing, And the working agency's already got work, searching for work for me. They got me a job interview, but it was only 25 hours, 5 hours a day. So that's like, if I was to work that, I'd pretty much get like an extra $5.50 before tax. Yeah, I'd probably get an extra $30 more than what I'm getting on the benefit. But if because where I was working was 40 hours, that's what I want. At least 35 hours, because then I can have, save $100 a week as well as have $100 spending money. So, yeah, that's my situation. And if you guys think you can't survive without, toxic, abusive families, forget about it. And I thought that I was too cool to need any help in real life, because when I was in Hawke's Bay, I had a counselling group I was a part of, because, as part of your healing process, you have if you were raised in that environment, you have adapted traits to survive, and you get out to the real world and realize that you're not made for the real world, because the traits that you had picked up, but then you can actually be yourself, and you actually are able to survive without them, no matter what happens, and sometimes prosper without them. And life goes on without them. So that's my situation, and just keep strong, guys. Feeling a bit hungry, so I'm going to eat my this is the last payday for my work payments, so I'm not in my work clothes, I'm in normal clothes, and I'm going to go get some clothing items, and I have 3 annual days, which adds up to about $350 that the working agency owes me. So I'm going to go and tally up how much it is to get a decent 2 shirts, decent long pants, 2 of them, as well as 2 decent jackets, and 1 or 2 decent tops, and then whatever's left over after the amount I have here, I'm going to ask for the working agency to pay me out that to cover that up. And another positive thing, I'm going to the All Blacks in 2 weeks' time, because it was about 5 weeks ago, whilst I was still working, 6 weeks ago whilst I was still working, sorry. No, 5. Would have been 5, yeah. Where I bought a ticket to All Blacks versus Wallabies. And just to add some more positivity to this, there's been 3... Hey guys! Sup, bro? I stopped because these guys were going to wreck in front of my car. Finally, I stopped for these guys, and I stopped for people walking across on the walkway. But a car wants to back out, and it's like, oh no, stay there, I'll just drive through, bro. Yeah. So it's only been 3 teams that won the Rugby World Cup more than once. New Zealand and Aussie are one of them. And going to that game. And whilst I was working, I also bought a ticket to the other team who's won more than 1 World Cup, which is South Africa. So I got those 2 test matches to go to. So here I am with all these groceries, all my needs met. No more money than that, except for like $38, but we'll see how much Taekwondo is. And going to a couple of All Blacks test matches. The working agency had already offered me an interview for 25 hours, which, I was like, then they said, yeah, but it's not what you're looking for. And I was like, yeah, but can I get something else to work a second job to work on top of that? They're like, oh no, we don't have anything else. How about we try and see if we can get 35 hours from them? And they couldn't. So I'm going to ring up the working agency straight after I've sat here and eaten my brunch, and then about interviews, and then I'm going to go look at different stores for those clothing items. So you guys keep your guys' head up, stay strong. If I haven't been on YouTube, that's why, because I didn't want to go. I wanted to get the point across, but I didn't want to spout so much that it would sabotage my next job. So yeah, the work environment, they said, oh, you're reliable and you always get the job done, but we think there's something wrong with you. Anyway, I'm involved with a counselling group here, but that's just to talk to people, and it's normal if you're going through all that type of stuff and you come from an abusive background. So we need the help we need, right? But I'm not, there's nothing wrong with me. You know what I'm saying? I am, I picked up a lot of traits from that upbringing, but I'm working them out, and I'm adapting, and being the real me, which I was half me and half somebody else. I was half me, half my parents when I was at that abusive environment. Now I'm just fully me. When I was with my friends, my close friends, I was fully me, but I wasn't. I picked up traits in order to survive at home. That's what happens. So we've been working it out for the past year, and it's been getting better and better and better. Alright guys, see you, bye bye.